Block party turning up the volume. Miller on the slide. Game, set, match.
Spectacular crowd inside Mackey Arena. Purdue builds a huge lead.
It's all! The hammer! Purdue is going to beat Tennessee here at the Broadway Block Party.
It is down. History for Dave Shondell. The all-time wins leader at Purdue.
Welcome back to the Dig City podcast, brought to you by Franciscan Health, the official medical provider of Purdue Athletics. I'm Cory Palm, and he's head coach Dave Shondell on his way to the regional round of the NCAA Tournament. Once again, Coach, congratulations.
Well, thanks, Cory. It's been an unbelievable season, to be honest with you, and we're very fortunate to have advanced, beat a couple of good teams. Certainly, I thought Wright State was a hot team, and we played well against them, and then ran up against Baylor, that is a traditional powerhouse in the sport of volleyball, if you've been following closely, and thought we played a good match against them as well. And so it's nice to be, taking this team that a lot of people doubted, early on and even throughout the season to the regional again. I think we've been back to the Sweet 16 now, maybe, 5 out of the last 6 years. Be really nice to maybe get past the Sweet 16 and into the Elite 8 and into the Final Four. But it'll be a tough way to go with SMU on Thursday, and then the winner of Pitt and Minnesota, if we get a chance to advance to move on to the Final Four. But it's not going to be impossible. Mm-hmm. Okay, it is possible. 4 fairly even teams. Minnesota's playing very well right now. They're a hot team, a hot and young team. Pitt's the team that's been to the Final Four, I think, 4 years in a row. They're playing at home. They're the heavy favorite. I think SMU and ourselves is maybe a coin flip in the first one. So it will be a great weekend of volleyball in the city of Pittsburgh.
No doubt. We'll get a chance to talk about the Mustangs a little bit and that region and how it's going to shake out. In the second half of the show, I want to go back to Wright State, that opening round matchup on Thursday. You guys had to sit and watch an extended game one go all the way to 5 sets. Yeah. Between Baylor and Arkansas State, a heck of a match. Volleyball fans really got a treat there. But is it tough to sort of cool your heels and have to sit around and wait?
It's not what you prefer.
Yeah.
You prefer to get your match started as soon as possible. But you talk about that being such a short time ago. It feels like it was 2 weeks ago.
It sure does.
But it was actually just last Thursday, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But no, I didn't feel great all day. Well, I felt pretty good on Thursday. I thought we would be ready for Wright State, and I felt like if we did the things that we needed to do on our side of the net, mm-hmm. that we would be able to advance, and we certainly did. We played well against Wright State. We knew they had a couple of really good offensive players that we needed to try to maintain or contain, and we did okay with that. And I think we swept them in 3, right?
You did, yep.
Yeah.
And set one, 19 kills, just 2 attack errors, hit 567 as a team.
Yeah.
It really could tell the Boilermakers were dialed in, focused, and offensively getting about everything you wanted.
Yeah, it's difficult to tell or to determine for me what approach to use with this team during a pregame talk.
Yeah.
Because they're a very calm, steady team that really doesn't always need to be jacked up. Sometimes they're better off if they just stay relaxed mm-hmm. when they play. So it's been a little bit of back and forth with me as I get ready to make have those conversations with the team beforehand. But when you start the match like we started both on Thursday and Friday and hit the numbers that we hit in both those matches, whatever happened during the week and whatever happened during the pregame, it was fairly effective because it got us off to great starts on both particular nights. And to win that first one in tournament play is more important than in regular season play because the pressure starts to mount on the team that loses that first one. And if they're tough, they'll respond well. If not, then maybe it's going to be in your favor.
Yep, it was certainly in your favor that night. Like you said, a 3-set sweep. Cash Anderson, 16 kills, Kenna had 13. Lindsey Miller with 9. Dior Charles with 3 blocks in the middle to lead the team, and a couple aces from Rachel Williams, Julia Kane. Yeah. Just a little bit of everything from a little bit, pretty much everybody.
Yeah, I just Cash Anderson, Akasha, as her name really is. But a week and a half ago, whenever they had this draw for Major League Volleyball. Is that what it's?
Yes, the draft.
The draft. And she gets shut out. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, how does a player that's playing at the level that she is playing at right now, that can play the complete game, can block, can pass serve, can play defense, hits with power, hits with finesse. And I saw that the draft and some of the names that were selected in those 7, was it 4 rounds?
4 rounds.
4 rounds,
Total
7 teams, 4 rounds, and she gets shut out. And I'm still baffled by that. And yet for Cash Anderson, she just keeps moving forward because she knows she'll find a place to play. It may not be in America this year. But man, what a season she's having. And our team would not be where we are without the play of Cash Anderson. She's just been brilliant for this team and gets better every match. She'll be better this weekend she was last weekend because that's how it's been with her. And just developing a plethora of different shots that can be effective against whichever team that we're playing. So just a huge shout out to what she's done for this team this season because we're not sitting here having this type of conversation without the transfer from Michigan State.
That's for sure. Great to see her perform and continue to raise her performance. Boilers at 381 on the night against the Ramblers, I think they are, from Wright State.
Raiders.
The Raiders, sorry, my bad.
They've got a husky as a mascot, but they're the Raiders.
Yes, my bad.
I think it's a husky. I mean, it's a dog or something.
It's a dog. It's a cute-looking mascot. He got on TV a lot. I know that. So you moved to Friday, and Baylor, who we said survived that 5-set thriller. Baylor's a talented team. They've got some familiar faces. They've got quite a pedigree, behind that program, and you sort of alluded to the fact that maybe you were comfortable on Thursday, but maybe not as comfortable Friday.
Well, it's a big match. It's the match that gets you to where you're playing in the regional round, okay? And so it's a big deal because to me there's a big separation between getting to the round of 32 and getting to the round of 16. And for our team, I thought it was just really big that we win that match, and so I was nervous, and I was, hoping for our team that we would play well and be able to win that. But I also knew that Baylor was a really good team that had size, physicality, always well coached, and yet we got off to a great start against them. And I think it helped us, Cory, that we were able to watch them play 5 sets. We talked about that earlier. That it's a long wait when you're sitting and hoping, waiting to play your first round match of an NCAA tournament, but the fact that we got a chance to watch them play for 2.5 hours gave me, and I'm sure our team, a better idea of what we needed to do to slow them down. And they had, the left side hitter number 6, and you can pronounce her name better than I can, but she was a freshman, but she had 32 kills in that match the night before, and we knew that's where we had to start. And fortunately, we did start with her. And I think we blocked her 3 times in the first set. She hit negative in the first set. And that's the kind of things you have to do to separate yourself from an opponent. And I thought, it was a combination of Grace Heaney getting a couple blocks, of Taylor Anderson getting a couple blocks on her, and we did a good enough job on the other people that I thought after the first set, we were under control. We had the match under control. We should have swept. I think we should have swept Baylor. We had a 19-16 lead in the third,
it was right there for
and all of a sudden we start to tighten up. Just on what actually were routine serves coming over the net. We were thinking too much about, are we going to win? Are we going to win? And we're going to win in 3. You can't play that way. You just got to go for the throat at that point in time, and we just stopped doing that. And but fortunately, the best thing I saw all night was how we responded in the 4th set. After losing the 3rd, when we think we've got it won, we think we're going to Pittsburgh, for the regional round, and we lose the 3rd set, how are you going to respond to that? Well, we responded in a really good way. I think we got up to about 3 or 4-0 lead, and we pretty much controlled it from that point in time. So just a great sign from our team.
Yeah, great response, because if you tighten up there at the early in the 4th, who knows how the night goes. Right. But yeah, you ran that up to a 7-3 lead and kind of never looked back in the 4th set. You said you started really well. That didn't quite tell the whole story. You guys had 29 kills and 2 attack errors in the first 2 sets combined.
For what hitting percentage?
For right around 460 combined through 2 sets is against a Big 12 team like Baylor is phenomenal.
Yeah, and the Big 12 had 10 teams in the NCAA tournament, so they're used to playing against good competition. And but I felt like the thing that has been improving for us from a skill standpoint every step of the way has been our serve pass. Serving and passing, which any volleyball coach in America will tell you that's the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And for us to continue to show that development in that area, as you know, at the start of this year, and even going back all the way to last January when our team arrived and we had 5 freshmen and 5 transfers come in here. Actually, it wasn't 5 freshmen, it was 3 freshmen that came in early.
Spring, right.
And we had 5 transfers. Our objective was let's help them understand what Purdue volleyball needs to look like and what our systems are going to be from an offensive standpoint and a defensive standpoint. And so we didn't spend as much time on some of the fundamentals of the game because I wanted to make sure that we understood how this game was going to be played in our system. Well, we did that, and now that we've got that part figured out, late in this season, we've been able to go back and say we're going to spend more time on serving. We're going to spend more time on passing. We're going to spend more time on blocking technique and doing some different things from there. And we've seen great progress in all those areas. So it's worked out well. Whatever we decided to do, it's worked out pretty well to get us to this point to where I think that we've got as good a shot as anybody. I mean, Pittsburgh's a favorite in this regional because they're playing at home and they're a good team. And they got the Player of the Year in Babcock on the right side, who's an absolute monster. But I think that the other 3 teams, it's pretty much a wash, and I think any of the 3 teams can beat Pittsburgh on a given night.
Absolutely. Just to wrap the Baylor, Kenna Woolard led the Boilermakers with 18 kills, Akasha Anderson 17, Lindsay Miller with 10. Yeah. Outblocked Baylor 12-5 on the day, out-aced them 10-2.
What was the blocking against Wright State? I'm wondering what we did on the weekend as far as blocking.
Just 5-2.
5-2.
So,
okay. They avoided the block a little bit better, I guess. But no, I thought our blocking was pretty good. And Kenna Woolard, as you mentioned earlier, had the 18 kills against Baylor. Mm-hmm. And Kenna had been struggling a little bit because she had that ankle injury maybe 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, whenever it was. And it takes a little while to kind of get back to start strutting your stuff again after you've had a severe ankle injury. Mm-hmm. But I think that her performance in every aspect, she had the best passing weekend of her career. People are going to serve our left side hitters when they can because they're going to stay away from our libero, Ryan McAleer, and our really good defensive specialist, Julia Kane. So they're going to go after the left sides because you like to put pressure on those people. They're going to have to do a lot of different things. Yeah. But they tried to do that, and she passed, I think, at 2.45, which is really good for us and has been passing better and better as the season has progressed.
Ryan McAleer made a handful of plays last weekend that were just unbelievable to watch. Not really sure how she gets to some of those balls.
This is a player that was out with from surgery during the springtime. Mm-hmm. Had a labrum issue in her hip, and had to have that worked on, and did not play in the spring, but she worked hard to get to where she is right now, and just more athletic than she's ever been. Some of those plays you're talking about were just true. Symbolic of what kind of an athlete that she can be, and making one-handed plays and diving stabs and keeping the ball alive. But she plays with this fervor, this intensity that this team really needs. And so I think she's playing as well as I could ever expect her to play as a sophomore. And hopefully she'll take another step going into this weekend when we need that kind of leadership up in Pittsburgh.
That'd be great. Let's take a quick step aside. We're done talking about the past. We're going to move forward and take a look at the Mustangs, a team that we are very familiar with after the last couple of years, right after the break.
The Dig City podcast is brought to you by Franciscan Health, the exclusive healthcare provider for Purdue Athletics. Franciscan, inspiring health, working for a better tomorrow. Go to franciscanhealth.org for more information. Now, back to the show.
Boilermakers get the SMU Mustangs in round 3 of the NCAA Tournament, the regional semifinals out in Pittsburgh. That game is Thursday. It's the late game Thursday, so it'll be 30 minutes or so after the Pitt versus Minnesota game.
Right. Approximately 9:30, approximately 9:30, just to give people some idea.
Yep.
Eastern time,
and that'll be on ESPN2, so tune in and watch your Boilermakers if you can't make it out to Pittsburgh for that match. Coach, you've seen SMU earlier this season If last Thursday felt like 2 weeks ago, then that match against
a long time
SMU
ago.
was a lifetime ago.
It was a long time.
But it was a 3-1 win for the Boilermakers down in Lexington in the non-conference event.
Third weekend of the season.
Yep.
And we go down to Lexington, and we played Houston on a Friday, or actually on a Saturday, and then we played SMU on a Sunday at 11 o'clock in the morning. And SMU at that point in time was ranked, I don't know, maybe 7, 6, 7, 8, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. And
I think we were still trying to find our identity and prove to people that we were going to have a volleyball team at Purdue this season. We had beaten Tennessee and Kansas at that point, who were top 25 teams. But this was going to be one that we could make a statement with. And we went out and played a great match. And I can still remember when that match was over, a little bit in disbelief that we had beaten a team of that level. In 4, when we could have, it's actually a match we could have won in 3. We had the third match in hand, but they stormed back to win it. And then again, we flexed our muscles to the level we needed to win it in 4. But they are a talented team. We have seen them a lot lately because we're in a rotating tournament with Kentucky, SMU, Houston, and ourselves. Next year will be the last year of that. We'll actually be going to Houston to play that in the third weekend of non-conference play. But, yeah, we're pretty familiar with them. They're pretty familiar with us. They beat who they beat last weekend. I watched the whole deal.
They swept Florida and Central Arkansas.
They beat Florida, which I thought could be a good match. 2 of those sets were pretty close, the last 2. The first one was a blowaway. I didn't think Florida did a whole lot to help themselves in the first set, but then it was pretty close. But SMU prevailed and did it in pretty routine fashion. They've got one of the best players in all of America. As a matter of fact, I think I would put Jones, their right side player, as one of the 3 best players in the country.
Wow.
She plays all 6 rotations. They set her from everywhere. She's got incredible range with her shot. She hits with velocity. She mixes her shots up well. Great competitor, tremendous competitor. And that's where you start when you look at this team SMU has. Now, they have some people. They have a player that's been out, a middle blocker that just jumps out of the gym. She's only about 5'10", but I think she touches around 11 feet. She's an incredible leaper, but she has been out for the last, couple months, and we don't know for sure if she's going to make a surprise start in Pittsburgh. And then they had another really strong player, Livings, who's a transfer from USC, originally from Dallas, that is a monster of a player. And she went down in the match against Florida in the first set, late in the first set, and did not return. So we have some questions, so we'll have to kind of prepare with the thought that she might play, she might not.
Yeah.
But they've got 3 other left side hitters that are really good. They got a kid named Rogers. Kennedy Rogers, I'm calling her Pepper Rogers for whatever reason because I think that name fits her. She's a great little player. Left side hitter, about 5'11"-ish, 5'10 and a half, jumps well, has a million shots that she can use. That has been kind of the catalyst for them, I think, in their wins that they've had down the stretch. I watched them beat Stanford at Stanford.
Yep.
Maybe 3 weeks ago, and they won because of her. She was that kind of a player. They got a setter that was at Texas for a couple of years and then transferred now to SMU that puts the ball in a dime for her hitters. She really makes that team go. Good libero that transferred, I think, from High Point University that is a really solid, really tough customer. So they've got a really, really good team. And we're going to have to play well and do some of the things that we've been doing well in these last few matches to be able to prevail. We've won 3 in a row now with the win over Indiana, Wright State, and Baylor, and have won all those. 2 of those were in 4, 1 was in 3. But we're starting to really steady our ship a little bit at this point.
That's good. It's the right time of the year to be steadying the ship. SMU's won 11 in a row. Their last loss they took on Halloween at North Carolina, so they're coming in 27-5 on the year. They finished up 17-3 in the ACC.
Yeah.
With, like you said, wins against Stanford. They beat Louisville. Back-to-back night losses to Pittsburgh, which no shame in that.
At Pittsburgh.
At Pittsburgh, yeah. They lost both sets of a home and home there. But Going back to the tournament that you referred to, we knew at the time it was a great deal to get us in Kentucky and two really good schools from Texas together. Yeah. Even though you've only played SMU twice out of the 3 years, you still get extended time looking at them and understanding them. How beneficial is that to sort of have that familiarity with the program?
Well, I think it helps you a little bit. Their coaching staff is very well respected. They've done a great job the last couple of years on the transfer portal. A lot of people think that they've got a tremendous amount of money that they're using to get players. Coaching staff tells you that that's not necessarily the case, that they're getting a lot of players from Texas to return. And SMU is a beautiful campus. It's a great situation there. So I think that, Sam, who's the head coach there, she's done a tremendous job, and she's bringing a lot of great players back home, and they compete. She's a great competitor as a coach. I mean, she's a fierce competitor. Sometimes you don't like that when you're on the other side, okay? But that's what makes that program so good. They have a head coach that just flat competes, and she doesn't want to back down from anybody. And I'm sure that she'll take the loss that she had against us early and use that to their advantage. We're going to take the fact that we went down there and beat that team when we were not even sure we could even play,
right? And
found a way to beat them. And look where we are now. We're a totally different team with totally different pieces that are performing for us. So I think it'll be a real good battle between two really strong volleyball teams that are still trying to find, I think, their identity and make a mark in this sport.
Yeah. The other two teams in the region are Pittsburgh and Minnesota. Obviously familiar with the Gophers. Good to see them advance to the second weekend as well.
Yeah.
And of course, Pitt comes in as the top overall seed in the region. But if you pay attention to the standings, you have to list out who the top four teams are, and somebody is the last of the four. Pitt was the fourth number one seed this year.
And SMU was 5.
And SMU was 5. They were the best number 2 seed.
Yeah. So two of the top 5 teams in the country in this bracket for us. But again, I think it's going to be a free for all.
Yep.
I really do. I think anybody can win it. And we're just happy to be alive and playing at this point in time. But I also feel like we're playing with a lot of confidence right now, and we're getting better all the time. And this will be an interesting week of preparation because I feel like SMU is a unique style offensively and something that you don't see very often. So you're going to have to put some time into figuring out how to defend a team that's got one of the very, very best players in the country, but also has a middle named Favor that's about 6'3" and hits the ball as hard as anybody in the country in one middle spot. And then they've got, like I say, a lot of left side options, including Pepper Rogers.
I like it. We'll go with it. You had a chance to watch a little bit of volleyball, having advanced on Friday, and the tournament continued on Saturday.
That's true.
Any chance to watch some matches?
Watched quite a bit.
Yeah, I'll bet.
I didn't want to be stress-free. I wanted to make sure I built my stress level back
Sure,
up by watching as much volleyball as I possibly could on that day. That was originally going to be kind of a day off and a time just to reflect and enjoy. But once you start watching it, you start doing a lot of thinking. The wheels start to turn. You start taking a lot of notes down. Then you start watching SMU on tape, and then you go back and forth. So I had my laptop in front of me while I'm watching those matches on TV, and now and then I would tell Angie, I said, let's turn it off, get something else on for
Please
a
put
little
on a movie or something.
But no, you got to watch those teams, and because you don't know who you're going to play at some point in time, and you learn a lot by watching what other teams are doing. Then I'd go back and I'd watch SMU play one of their opponents, okay, and see what did some of these good coaches in the ACC try to do against SMU. How did they serve them? How did they defend them? What were they trying to do offensively? So you try to learn from other people that might know. If you're in the conference with SMU, you better put a pretty good plan together.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to be coaching in that conference very long. And so those are some of the things I did throughout the weekend, besides the Colts get beat and lose their quarterback, which was a real disappointment for us.
That stunk, yeah. You look at the rest of the field. Of the 16 teams that advanced, 15 of them were the ones that were supposed to advance. Cal Poly, the only outlier who pulled off the offset.
They're tough. They're tough. I did watch them. They beat USC in the second round, and they beat BYU. They liked the alphabet named schools.
They're playing.
They look really
next,
good.
So.
They play Kentucky next, but they fight. I didn't feel like those were upsets after watching the matches. They just won. I think it was a 5-setter against USC. And
both were actually.
I was pulling for Brad Keller at USC because I think he's done a nice job, and I wanted them, the Big Ten, to win that one. But Cal Poly deserved it, so good for them. Congratulations.
No doubt. 5 Big Ten teams advanced, including the Boilermakers.
Is that the most, or does anybody else have that many teams?
See.
Have you done the math
SEC,
on that yet?
I haven't yet, but let's do it on the fly.
The ACC would be the other team.
The ACC's got 2. Let's see.
They're going to have.
They got Louisville.
Miami didn't make it.
Miami didn't make it. So and Stanford. So the SEC's got 4.
What about the SEC?
The SEC's got
Kentucky, Texas,
and I think that's it.
Nah, there's got to be one more in there.
Kansas. No, they're the Big 12.
Maybe
that's
not.
It. Oh, A&M. Texas A&M.
Yeah,
They play Louisville. So
that'll be a good one. A&M and Louisville will be a fun one to watch.
That's a great region with Nebraska and Kansas on the other side. So
I think the toughest region is down in Austin. I think Wisconsin is going to give Texas everything that they can imagine in Gregory Gym, and then you've got Stanford. They're going to give Stanford.
Yeah, that's
and
a
then you've got Indiana
match.
going down there and playing Texas.
Yeah,
but I think Wisconsin's as a 3 seed is a real sleeper. Their setter didn't play for about 4 weeks, and they lost a couple. They lost some early, but lately they've been pretty good.
Well,
Wisconsin's been playing pretty well.
They're one of those situations where they got the correct seed based on the season.
Yeah.
But they're a lot better than their seed for sure.
We're going to find out.
I think.
Yeah.
All right. Any other final thoughts, Coach, before we kick you loose to go watch more SMU?
I just hope that there's some people on the East Coast that love Purdue and would enjoy watching Purdue volleyball, because we need to get some people there at Pitt to watch that match. We're going from playing on the home court where we had about 90% of the gym was Boilermakers, and we certainly appreciate the fans for coming out, because they did not disappoint. Great crowds here for our matches here at home. But now we're going on the road, and we're going to be on a neutral floor for the first one, but it doesn't have to be neutral. It can be a Boilermaker crowd. And I think that we're the underdog. We're the 3 seed, they're the 2 seed. People have been talking about SMU all year. So, but I don't know if the John Purdue Club is reaching out, if what they're going to do to try to help us. But all I know is I can only control what my team can do at this point in time. My focus is on them. I'm not putting together fan packages at this point in time. But I want to encourage our fans to come out and watch, because, as I've said all season, what team is more deserving to show your support than this volleyball team at Purdue? Because I think they've jumped beyond expectations this season, and I'm very happy for that.
Certainly something that make Boilermaker Nation proud. As I pull up the map app here, it is 6.5 hours from West Lafayette to Pittsburgh, which means it's 5.5 hours from Indy. Even closer, if you're over on the east side, it's 4 hours from Fort Wayne. That is certainly a doable drive.
Well, you're doing your job. I appreciate those numbers.
Get over there.
We need to have some people out there to support us, and I know we will. We always do. I mean, that's one thing that I've noticed in the last 5 years. Number one, people love volleyball now. They've gotten enough exposure on the big screen that people are learning what the sport's all about, and the Purdue faithful have been out everywhere we've gone. So I know we'll have a good crowd in Pittsburgh.
And with that being a neutral site match, Purdue-SMU, a little bit of crowd can make a whole lot of difference.
Yeah, well, we hope so. And again, we appreciate what our fans have done all season. The big crowds we had in Mackey Arena, the whole year of sellouts in Holloway Gym, people still trying to get season tickets, like a 3-year waiting list to get a season ticket for a Purdue volleyball, and just happy that the program continues to sail on at this point.
Coach, good luck.
Thank you very much, Cory.